Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 13th of January and I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. Guys, in this particular video, we shall be discussing entire analysis of Hindu along with their background as well as way forward. And also I would like to tell you that you can download explainer notes of this entire session from our Telegram channel. Link for Telegram is given in description box in YouTube. Now, first of all, I would like to take the overview of entire newspaper so that you can understand that which articles are relevant in today's newspaper. So here we have Delhi edition of Hindu newspaper, and first article that we have here is Supreme Court refuses to stay law on chief election commissioners. We'll understand this entire issue with respect to examination. Then here retail inflation rose to 5.7% in December. Now guys, when we talk about inflation, what inflation is? Inflation is general rise in the price of the commodities. Now when we talk about inflation, in the context of India, there is monetary policy committee whose role is to keep inflation in a sustainable range. Now what is sustainable range of inflation? It is 4% plus minus 2%, means minimum it should be 2%, maximum it should be 6%. So between 2 to 6% inflation should stay, and this formula was given by the Urjit Patel committee. So right now inflation is 5.7% in December, fine, which has actually increased from 5.55% earlier, but still it is in the range of tolerance, that is 6%. Okay, however, one more thing I want to tell you, that you are not really required to track every month by month detail with respect to inflation. Okay, because point is that by the time you will write examination, these particular things might change. So therefore, moving on, then after that we have the advertisements and all such kind of things, not much important. Then in the city section also largely the advertisements and these things are there. So we will be moving on from this particular section, and till editorial section much relevant articles are actually not there. These tenders etc are filled. There is one article, Kerala government initiative aims at turning Kumarakom, a nearby village, into women-friendly destinations. We'll take this particular article for the examination. Okay, just a minute. Fine. Then moving on further in this particular direction. After that, we come to editorial page. Now, editorial page, first article, Lord Ram from Mandir to more important Rajya. Okay, guys, I have read this entire article, but article does not contains much of a substance for the examination. Fine, Ayodhya temple construction that is going on and all such things are being discussed here. If you want for your interest, you can read it, but for exam academic point of view, much substance is not given here. Now, this particular article here, it talks about the robust direct tax receipts. So guys, yesterday we have seen this particular thing, that what has happened already, 14.7 lakh crore rupees tax collection has happened, and 81% of the estimates that have been made, they have been achieved. So direct tax collection is going good, and it shows a kind of an economic revival in India. Then next article, a case diary for the Indian police. Will take this particular article talking about the police reform. This article, number game, will take this particular article also. This article is talking about recent released Swachh Sarvekshan Survey Awards. So a good insight has been given. I'll take this one also. Then next page we have this ground zero report. Now understand this thing, that in ground zero report, this is released on every Saturday. Here basically some particular issue will be picked up, and the people, how they are suffering, their stories, their personal accounts, narratives will be told here. Now today's ground zero report, it is focusing on the refugees living in Tamil Nadu, okay, who have come from Sri Lanka. So their stories are being told here. Okay, their stories are being told here in this capacity. Then further moving on, Prime Minister begins a special 11-day ritual before opening of Ram temple in Ayodhya. So inauguration of Ram Mandir in Ayodhya is to be done. Now understand this thing, that for examination, there is one particular dimension in this article that is important. Now what is this dimension is that Prime Minister has started Yam Niyam. Now Yam Niyam is an important constituent of the yoga school of philosophy, and on the schools of philosophy questions in the UPSC is asked. So we will see this particular dimension. Then further moving on in this capacity, we have largely the articles not that much important. Here we have this article, focus on best practices, global meet on pulses, return to India. We'll take this particular article. Then after that we have here article, India's longest sea bridge inaugurated. So we'll take this particular article also. Yatra, seat sharing on India blocks, online meeting agenda. Political articles, no need to go too much in that detail. Fine, again the political statements etc. are being made. Vibrant Gujarat Summit attracted investments worth 26 lakh crore rupees. So guys, recently Vibrant Gujarat Summit's 10th edition was held in Gujarat, and this is a mega summit that is held where where the investors are provided with opportunities that are there for investment, and in this capacity 26.3 lakh crore rupees investment memorandum of understanding has been signed. Okay, moving on. After that, here we have this article, possible debris of IAF aircraft located in Bay of Bengal after 7 years. So in 2016 there was this crash happened. Okay, then farmers, here we have this article, Science Ministry team visits Hawaii to take stock of telescope project. We'll take this particular article. Then further moving on business page, largely we have the articles such as the factory output growth. Then we have these corporate trends, Wipro, HCL, etc. Corporate trends, stock market performance, okay, share market, fine, how they're doing, etc. is not needed for your examination. In the economy section, issues related to Indian economy, performance of Indian economy, some government initiative if it has come, etc. is important and that needs to be seen. Then further moving in this direction, we come to world page, and here we have this article, US UK launch joint strikes against Houthi targets after Red Sea attack. So guys, recently if you have followed the newspaper analysis regularly, we have discussed this article in so much of the detail. Even the mapping also we have seen in this direction. So basically, what is the issue? Right now, Israel Gaza war is going on, where first what happened, the Hamas, they attacked Israel. Okay, then in counter retaliation, Israel is attacking the Hamas. Fine, and people in Gaza Strip, they, a lot of them have died, lot of them are getting suffered. So sympathies for the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip has emerged around the world. Now Houthis, they are the rebel group who are based in Yemen, and they have started attacking the ships which are going through Red Sea, which are either coming from Israel or going to the Israel. So those ships are being attacked in the Red Sea by Houthi groups. Now what has happened, basically Operation Prosperity Guardian was launched, okay, to tame these Houthi attacks. Okay, so what has happened now, US UK has launched the joint strikes against them. Okay, then further moving on, we have the sports section. Okay, so this is guys all about the newspaper overview for today. So today being Saturday, text and context is not published, science page is not published, and in editorial that one page is a ground zero report. Okay, so that is all about it, and now let's discuss one by one analysis of all these articles in detail. But before that guys, we take MCQ questions based on the current affairs every day. So first I will give you the answers for yesterday's MCQ questions. Then I will give you MCQ questions for today. And this is very good to see all of you who are participating in answering the MCQ, and the response is really encouraging. Keep it up, and as I'm saying from the day one, make a radical habit that I will mark the answers every day. And if you have this thing, then you will be more careful while I'm discussing the issues, because a question can be asked from this. So first of all, let's take the MCQs that we have taken yesterday. So the first question that we have taken was with respect to following in the Agastya Malai Biosphere Reserve, identify the right statement. Now actually this is a PYQ question that came. Okay, so the first right option is the first one. Right option is the first one. Nayar, Pepara, okay, Sendurni Wildlife Sanctuary, and Kalakad Pine Mondutharai Tiger Reserve. So this is the right option. Then just a minute. Okay, then we have taken this particular question. World Employment and Social Outlook Trend 2024 report is brought by which of the following institutions? So we have covered this article. The report was released recently, which has talked about the growth prospects, growth outlook, change into the real wages. So who releases the report? It is released by the International Labour Organization. So right answer is option B. Very good, who have answered it. Then the next question we have taken is with respect to the fog. With respect to the fog. So we have seen that article came in text and context because there was thick fog in North India, which led to a lot of disruptions in traffic movement, railway, airway movements. So two statements are given. Statement number one, lake fog forms when cold and moist air flows over relatively colder waters. Now this statement is wrong. Why? Because it has to be warm and moist air. It has to be warm and moist air. When it flows over the cold waters, the lake fog or ocean fog is formed. Then radiation fog is prevalent after unseasonably warm day and high humidity. Okay, so this is right. So therefore, what is the correct option? Correct option is B, 2 only. Correct option is B, 2 only. I hope you got it. Then moving to the next question. Okay, so these are all the questions that we have taken yesterday. Now let's take the questions for today. Let's take the questions for today. So recently, guys, we have seen that the Lakshadweep Islands were so much in the news because Prime Minister visited Lakshadweep Island, and in that capacity we have done the mapping also of the Lakshadweep Island. So there might be a possibility that around Lakshadweep some question might be asked. So let's see. Statement 1, Minicoy serves as the capital. Statement 2, the Union Territory falls under jurisdiction of Karnataka High Court. And statement 3, human settlement has existed on the island since the arrival of Britisher in 1870. How many are the correct options? Choose the correct options and leave your answer in the comment box. Please leave your answer in the comment box. Then next is, which of the following statement is correct about effects of antibiotics on viruses? Now guys, understand this thing. This question might look little bit difficult, but deliberately this has been done because on these lines questions in the past, just a minute. On these particular lines questions in the past in UPSC CSE have been asked. Now, why we are asking this particular question? Because recently NCDC has released the report on antimicrobial resistance in India, and so many articles have come on this direction we have seen in the previous days. So with respect to the antibiotics and their effects on viruses, bacteria, etc., we have framed this question. Okay, it might look little bit difficult, but if you use little bit your basic understanding, basic common sense, you will be able to solve the answer. So which of the following statement is correct? Viruses are non-living entities, but it can interact with antibodies. Okay, taking antibiotics cause viral infection. Viruses do not possess metabolic pathways on which antibiotics can function. Okay, whereas bacteria have such pathways. Viruses are resistant to antibiotics. Okay. Fine. So this is about it. Please attempt the question and please leave your leave your answers in the comment box. Then there is this one question: which of the following statement are correct regarding the Maternity Benefit Amendment Act? Now this question was asked in 2019. Pregnant women are entitled for the 3-month pre-delivery and 3-month post-delivery paid leave. Enterprises with creche must allow the mother minimum 6 creches visit daily. Women with 2 children get reduced entitlement. Select the correct answer. Please choose the right code and leave your answers in the comment box. Okay. Now, moving on, guys, in this particular direction. Just a minute. Okay, now moving on, and let's start with our analysis one by one in detail. So guys, every class we start with a GS quotation, and the idea is that this you should use these quotations in your UPSC examinations in writing the answers. So we'll take the quotation from Archibald MacLeish. He says, democracy is never a thing done. Democracy is always something that a nation must be doing. So democracy is a process. Democracy is a process. And this particular process strengthens with more and more democratic steps, such as the strengthening of democratic institutions, such as ensuring that ensuring that the minority interests are being upheld so that the justice is being done. By that, a country becomes more and more democratic every day. It is not one thing that is achieved and then you have become completely democratic. You evolve. Democracy evolves. Fine. So you can use this particular idea in GS paper number 2, issues related to polity governance, as well as in essay. We can use this particular idea. So that is about it. And now moving on, and let's take the mapping entry for today, guys, because you know already that every year questions on mapping do come in the examination. Okay. Now, so here we are going to cover, basically, first of all, let me give you context. So recently we have seen that between India and Maldives, there was some kind of an ugly exchanges that happened, particularly Maldives anti-India policy that Maldives have adopted after the new elections that have been held in Maldives. Now, basically, understand this particular thing, that there is key word that has come, that is the coercive diplomacy. Coercive diplomacy. Now, what is coercive diplomacy? Coercive diplomacy is a brand of diplomacy where there is outright confrontation begins between the two actors into the international arena. That is the coercive diplomacy. Now, when we talk about the Lakshadweep, guys, related to Lakshadweep, some important mapping locations we need to see. But anyhow, one more point I want to highlight here. See, when we talk about Lakshadweep, Lakshadweep happens to be an important partner for India in the Indian Ocean region, and India wants to lead the Indian Ocean region. Now, what are the major important islands that are there in the Indian Ocean? So, regarding that, there can be question with respect to the north to south arrangement of these islands. And if you have seen in the past also, UPSC has asked these questions where they have asked the cities to arrange from north to south. So when we talk about Indian Ocean, there are certain important islands that we have. Now, in the northeast, in the northernmost, we have Maldives. Then after the Maldives, we have here Seychelles. Okay. Then guys, here we have Diego Garcia. Now, when we talk about the Diego Garcia, it is a British territory. Then here we have the Comoros. Then we have Cocos Island. Then we have the Mauritius, and here we have the Reunion. So these are the important islands in the Indian Ocean. Please remember their north to south location, because on that particular dimension a question might be asked. And also please remember their west to east orientation also, west to east. So when we talk about the west, we have Comoros here. Then we have Seychelles. The first we have Comoros, then we have Seychelles. Okay. Then we have here Reunion, then we have Mauritius. Okay. Then we have Diego Garcia, then we have Maldives, and then we have the Cocos Island. Okay. So this is the location of most important islands that we have in Indian Ocean region. And Maldives happens to be one of an important priority for India. Why? Because India runs its neighborhood first policy. Also, Maldives lies in the vicinity of India, fine, in the backyard of India. So therefore, Maldives happens to be an important one. But these other oceans also, these other islands are also there, which form the part of the India's maritime strategy in Indian Ocean region. Okay. Now, as we talk about Lakshadweep, guys, understand this particular thing, that these are the major, as we talk about the Maldives, these are the major islands of Maldives. And understand this particular thing, guys, that here we have equator. Now see, there are some of these channels, fine, which might be asked in your examination with respect to the Lakshadweep, Maldives, Andaman, Nicobar Island. So we have first of all the 8-degree channel. What 8-degree channel does? 8-degree channel separates Minicoy Island from the Maldives. It separates Minicoy Island from the Maldives, or in a simple way you can say it separates Lakshadweep from the Maldives, 8-degree channel. Then we have 9-degree channel. It separates Kavaratti from Minicoy Island. Now both are the part of the Lakshadweep only. Then we have 10-degree channel. 10-degree channel separates Andamans from Nicobar Island. Andaman from Nicobar Islands. Fine. So 8-degree, 9-degree, 10-degree. Again, 8-degree Lakshadweep, Maldives. 9-degree Lakshadweep, Kavaratti to Minicoy. And 10-degree separates Andaman from Nicobar. Separates Andaman from Nicobar. These are the major islands of the Maldives. Now, when we talk about Maldives, guys, some of the important aspects about the Maldives that you should be knowing, that when we talk about the Maldives, it happens to be the smallest country in Asia, number one. It happens to be the smallest country in Asia. And secondly, when we talk about the Maldives, in total, it has 1190 coral islands, 1190 coral islands. And also because of the temperature range, that the temperature ranges between 24 to 33 degree throughout the year, it becomes a preferable location for the tourists around the world. But at the same time, Maldives, it is also the lowest country anywhere in the world, and because of that, climate change that will happen, sea level rise that will happen, it is going to impact Maldives. And it is predicted that by 2050, 80% of the Maldives is expected to vanish. So climate change, sea level rise is a big threat. And then, guys, when we talk about the India and the Maldives, fine, a major cultural change occurred in the Maldives when Islam took the lead over Buddhism. Okay, so earlier Buddhism has flourished here. And also, guys, many of the important joint exercises have been taken between India and Maldives, that is Operation Shield, Ekuverin, Dosti, Ekatha. And this also happens to be a very important aspect, the Operation Cactus in 1988. This Operation Cactus was taken up by India in Maldives to prevent the coup attempt that has happened. And also, India emerged as Maldives' third largest trading partner in 2021. So all these particular statements with respect to Maldives are the most important one, and you should be having an idea about that, because in UPSC CSE, the questions on such particular kind of dimensions can be asked. Now, moving on in this particular direction. So, we have this particular article here. Supreme Court refuses to stay law on Chief Election Commissioner selection, issues notices to the government. Now, before going in this particular article, guys, let's take some basic background information first, and once we understand it, then we'll go to this particular article. So, guys, we have Article 324 in the Constitution of India, and this Article 324 establishes the Election Commission of India for the free, fair and transparent conduct of elections in India. For free, fair and transparent conduct of elections in India. Now, when we talk about the Election Commission of India, it is responsible for conducting the elections for the post of president, for the post of vice president, elections for the parliament, and the elections for the state legislative assembly will be conducted by the Election Commission of India. For municipalities and the panchayat, state election commissioner will be there. Election Commission of India will not conduct their election. Okay, so we have this. Now, guys, when we talk about the Election Commission of India initially emerged as a single member body, and finally post 1993 it emerged as a multi-member body. In between also it emerged as a multi-member body, but again it was reverted to single body. But now post 1993 finally Election Commission of India is working as a multi-member body, where there will be one chief election commissioner and two other election commissioners will be there. Now, understand, guys, one particular thing, that when we talk about the election commissioners and chief election commissioners, their neutrality, their non-partisanship is very much important for the fair and free elections in India. And in this particular capacity, the way they are elected, it becomes very much important. Their remuneration, salaries, status, that becomes very much important for their independence. Now, understand this particular thing, guys, that when we talk about, the election commissioners and chief election commissioners, in 1991, Parliament has already passed the Election Commission, Conditions of Service of Election Commissioners and Transaction of Business Act. So 1991, we have already passed this particular act, which provides this particular thing, that first of all, when we talk about the salary of Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioner, okay, the salary of the Chief Election Commissioner at the same level as a Supreme Court judge. However, this 1991 Act did not establish any special procedure for the selection of Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioner. And up till now, what is happening? They were being appointed by the President of India. You know already this particular thing, that the President cannot act on the aid and advice of the Council of Minister. So in a way, what is happening? The Council of Minister, government indirectly is making the appointment of the Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioner. Now, this particular thing in a way impacts the neutrality of Election Commission of India. And even Supreme Court observed this particular thing, that even a person having highest integrity might be politically inclined towards X or Y political party. So therefore, in order to ensure neutrality in Election Commission of India, we need to change the appointment process of Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioner. And what happened in 2023? In 2023, in the month of March, Supreme Court ordered the government of India that you need to bring a collegium type of a system for the appointment of the Election Commissioner and Chief Election Commissioner. Right now, they are being appointed by President. Now, this system is to be changed, and you need to bring a kind of a collegium. And what Supreme Court did? Supreme Court recommended that there will be a selection committee, which will recommend the appointment of Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioner of India. Now, this committee will have three members. Number one, Prime Minister. Prime Minister will be there. Second, leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha will be there. And third, the Chief Justice of India will be there. These three people will select the CEC and EC. This thing came. Now understand, this was an interim arrangement. Till the time a law is not framed by Parliament. Till the time this arrangement will work. And once a Parliament will frame a law, then that new arrangement will come. Now guys, what happened in this particular response? Parliament, it came out with the CEC and other election commissioners appointment, condition of service and terms of office act 2023. Okay, they came out with this particular act, and in this particular act they deliberated, or they brought reform in a lot of things. But the first is, they formed a committee for appointment of election commissioner and chief election commissioner. Now the committee that they formed, understand, first of all, they provided that the selection committee, it will consist Prime Minister, good, Supreme Court also recommended, Union Cabinet Minister and the leader of opposition. Now you see, Chief Justice of India is missing, and in place of Chief Justice of India, what has happened? Union Cabinet Minister has come. Now Union Cabinet Minister and Prime Minister will obviously, or in most of the cases, will be from the ruling party. So what has happened? Out of the three-member body, two people are from the ruling party, Prime Minister and Union Cabinet Minister. So what happened? It again gave the upper hand to the government in the appointment of election commissioner and chief election commissioner. Okay, this is one thing that came. Also guys, one more issue came here, and listen, see it very carefully. Recommendation of the selection committee will be valid even when there is a vacancy in this committee. Now total there are 3 members in selection committee. Suppose if one vacancy is there, let's say leader of opposition is not there, still whatever they want they can do. So means that outrightly the power has been restored, has been reinstated into the hand of the government. Okay, now one more point guys, I want to tell you that all these things that we are discussing here, actually they are not mentioned in the article. So for this I have taken up the help of the many other sources also. So please download this particular PDF. Okay, so here this information we have taken from PRS website. Okay, so please download it. Fine. So this is one challenge that came, that you have give all the power in the hand of the government. Then second issue guys that came, that see, there will be a search committee. One more committee will be there. So first, search committee will identify certain candidates, and from the search committee, selection committee will find out some suitable candidates for the position. Now search committee will be there. Now search committee will be headed by the cabinet secretary and will propose a panel of names to the selection committee. Now eligibility for the post includes anyone who has held the position to the secretary to the central government. Secretary to the central government means senior IAS officers. So it states that it will limit the number of candidates that can be eligible. This is second criticism. Then guys, the third criticism that comes here, and please note it down, this is a very important one. This is a very important one. Now the salary and condition of the service. Now understand that saying that the salary, condition of service, they have been made equivalent to the cabinet secretary, Now what is bad here? Under the existing 1990 law that was there, that I told you, under that it was provided that the salary will be equivalent to the Supreme Court judge. Now the salary will be equivalent to the cabinet secretary. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about the Supreme Court, okay, when we talk about the Supreme Court, the salary of the Supreme Court judges, they are approved by the Act of Parliament. But when we talk about the salaries of the cabinet secretary, they are approved by the government. So here, basically what has happened, again, through the salaries, it has been said that their autonomy has been compromised. This is something that has come in this particular capacity. So therefore guys, what happened? Petitions were filed in Supreme Court, saying that the new law that government has brought, it is going against the directive of Supreme Court. Why? Because they have not included CGI. Second, they have given most of the power in the hand of the government. Okay, they have basically compromised with the autonomy of Election Commission of India. So therefore, petitions were filed in the Supreme Court. Now, what Supreme Court has done? Supreme Court has refused to put a stay on this new law. They have said that we will further hear the arguments by the union government, but as of now, this law will prevail. So this is something that has happened. Now in April, further, basically this particular matter will be dealt and we'll see that what will come. But as of now, the law will prevail. No stay has been given by Supreme Court. So this is all about this entire article. I hope guys that you have understood it, and this is the entire issue with respect to this. Just a minute. Fine. So that is all guys about it. And now moving to the next article. PM begins special 11-day ritual before opening of Ram temple in Ayodhya. Now guys, I always say you that these type of articles are actually not that much important, but here for our ancient history, there is one important dimension that is being discussed in this particular article. So therefore, the article will become important in prelims. For the point of view of prelims, art and culture, ancient history. The article will be important. Let's discuss what I am trying to talk about. So basically, Prime Minister has said that Prime Minister has referred that he will be starting a special ritual of 11 days. Now, what special ritual of 11 days he is going to start? He is going to start the Yam Niyam, which has been mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita as well as has been mentioned in the Sage Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. Okay. So let's understand what is this Yam and Niyam, which is mentioned into the 8 limbs of yoga. Now, let's discuss this thing from the very scratch. Okay. Guys, when we talk about Indian schools of philosophy, understand this particular thing, that Indian schools of philosophy can be divided in 2 parts. Number 1 is Astik and number 2 is Nastik. Astik and Nastik. Now, Astik and Nastik has nothing to do here in the belief in God. They deal with the accepting authority of Vedas or denying the authority of Vedas. Understand? When we talk about belief in God or not believing in the God, the word there is theist and atheist. Okay. Now, when we talk about the Astik means orthodox schools of philosophy. When we talk about Nastik means the heterodox schools of philosophy. Now, within Astik schools of philosophy, we have six schools here. That is Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya Vaisheshik, न्याय वैशेषिक, मीमांसा, वेदांत, मीमांसा and Vedant. So we have these 6 schools in the Astic group, and in Nastic group we have 3 schools. What these 3 schools are? We have here Jainism, Buddhism and Charvak. Jainism, Buddhism and the Charvak. These 3 schools we have here in the Nastic group. Now, the Prime Minister is going to follow the 11-day ritual. Where it is mentioned in the Yoga School of Philosophy. It is mentioned into the Yoga School of Philosophy. So, in the Yoga School of Philosophy, there is Ashtang Yoga that has been mentioned. There is Ashtang Yoga that has been mentioned. Ashtang Yoga, or the 8 limbs of yoga that have been mentioned. Now, what are these 8 steps? One by one, we are going to discuss them, and I have given here in the handout. Understand this thing? These 8 all steps I have given you here, and we'll also see that which of them Prime Minister is going to follow. In article, there is nothing much relevant, but please ensure that you download this particular PDF, because here these all 8 limbs we have discussed. Okay. Now, what are these 8 limbs? The first is yam. First is yam. Now, what is yam? Yam is to observe certain ethical moral principles. Certain ethical moral guidelines have to be followed. That is yam. Now, within yam, there are 5 yams that are there. 5 ethical guidelines. Number 1, ahimsa, non-violence. Number 2, satya, that is truthfulness. Number 3, aste, means non-stealing. Number 4 is brahmacharya, brahmacharya. Now, brahmacharya, understand this thing, often we compare or relate brahmacharya with avoidance of the sexual gratification. But brahmacharya largely means avoidance of all the materialistic pleasures. Okay. So, brahmacharya is moderation, often interpreted as celibacy. Okay. Aparigraha means non-possessiveness or non-greed. So, these are the 5 yams that are there. These are the 5 yams that are there within the first principle. So, Prime Minister is going to follow them for next 11 days. Yam. And second, he is going to follow niyam. Second, he is going to follow niyam. Now, what is niyam? Niyam is to follow self-discipline. Niyam is to follow self-discipline. Now, what is there in this self-discipline? Again, there are 5 constituents in the niyam. Number 1 is shauch, that is to maintain purity, to maintain hygiene. To maintain purity, to maintain hygiene, internal purity, as well as external purity. Second is santosh, contentment. You need to be satisfied. Third is tapas, means self-discipline. Fourth is swadhyay, fine, swadhyay, that is self-study. And fifth is ishwar paridhan, that is surrender to the higher power, surrender to the Almighty. These are the 5 in the niyam. So, Prime Minister is going to follow yam, niyam, yam, niyam. However, after yam and niyam, there are 6 other limbs also that are there. So, let's see them also, because a question might come in this particular capacity. What are they? Third is asan. Asan. What is asan? Asan is to correct the physical posture. Okay, correct the physical posture. Now, guys, understand this thing, that when we normally talk about the yoga, in the yoga, different asanas are there, different postures are there. Largely the physical yoga that is being followed nowadays, it pertains to the different type of asanas, and pranayam is also there. So, asana is practicing different type of physical postures. And the logic of asana was this, so that you, when you meditate, when you go in dhyan, fine, you don't feel that bodily discomfort. So, it is just to prepare you. So, asana. Then pranayam. Pranayam is controlling one's breath. Controlling one's breath to enhance the flow of prana, to enhance the life force energy in the body. Then the next is pratyahar. Pratyahar. What is pratyahar? Withdrawal of the senses. Withdrawal of the senses. So, rather than basically what it is the practice of turning one's attention inward by withdrawing the senses from the external stimuli. Often we get stimulated by a lot of external things. So, withdrawing your senses from external stimuli to internal. The next is dharan. The next is dharan. Dharan is the practice of focusing on a single point, focusing your mind. That is dharan. And finally, there is dhyan and samadhi. Finally, there is Dhyan and Samadhi. What is Dhyan? Dhyan is deep, unrestricted, sustained meditation. And from that Dhyan, one will enter Samadhi. That is the enlightenment. So one will enter the Samadhi. Okay. So these are the 8 limbs of yoga. Okay. Ashtanga yoga. And out of that, the 2 are the one which Prime Minister has mentioned that he is going to focus upon. Okay. Now, moving on, guys, the next article. So this particular article, guys, you can use as a case study in your answers related to GS3 as well as GS2. GS3, tourism as an economic opportunity. GS2, role of women in tourism. Role of women in tourism. So basically, guys, when we talk about the Kerala, you already might be knowing this particular thing, that the Kerala has a rich and thriving tourism industry. Particularly, backwaters of Kerala are visited every year by millions and millions of people from India as well as from abroad. Now, what Kerala is focusing upon? Kerala is focusing upon incorporating more and more women entrepreneurs in the tourism. More and more women entrepreneurs in the tourism. So basically, what has happened now? Kerala, now understand, backwaters of Kottayam, and particularly Kumarakom. Now, Kumarakom is a place in Kerala, fine, where large number of women entrepreneurs in the tourism sector are working. And now Kerala wants to leverage this particular thing. So what has happened? The state government of Kerala is starting a mission where the government will encourage more and more women-friendly destinations in and around Kumarakom. Also here, so women-friendly destinations will be promoted around Kumarakom in Kerala, and also women entrepreneurs will be nudged so that they come and they make a career out of tourism industry. Now, as a part of this particular project, fine, it will see the participation of women in the activities such as catering, accommodation, transportation, community guides. So women will be promoted to become as guides. They will be promoted, they will be encouraged to go in catering, to go in accommodation, transport services, etc. Now, this particular program by the Kerala government, it aims to bring 500 women in the tourism entrepreneurship. 500 women in the tourism entrepreneurship. And for that thing, gender audit has been done. And when we talk about the Kumarakom actually is an excellent case study, because we find this particular thing, that women occupy 50% of the space in tourism industry. So 50% of the space in tourism industry in Kumarakom is occupied by women, and Kerala wants to promote it even more. There are right now 100 plus tourism initiatives. There are right now 100 plus tourism initiatives which women are leading, and now further they want to promote more women here. And from Kerala, other states can also learn. And can promote the women-centric tourist destinations and can promote women in the tourism industry. Okay, so that is all about it. I hope that you have understood it. And now we'll move to next article. Okay, a case diary for the Indian police. A case diary for the Indian police. Now, this particular article, we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 2, issues related to the law and order and police reforms. Now, guys, when we talk about the policing, understand this particular thing. There are 2 ideas related to the policing. Police as a service and police as a force. Now, understand this thing. What is to establish police as a service? Means it will be oriented towards the citizen centricity. Okay, and the notion is to help. Notion is to serve. And important values here will be empathy. And compassion. And when we talk about establishing police as a force, Now, police will be used as an institution to discipline. Police will be used as an institution to discipline. Police will be used as an institution to command authority. Will be used as an institution to command authority. To command authority. And it will rule through fear. It will rule through fear. It will rule through force. It will rule through force. Now, understand this particular thing, that when Britishers came in India, when the Britishers came in India, and when they established policing in India, so Indian Police Act that was created by the Britishers, it was created keeping in mind that police should be created as a force. Police should be created as a force. And this particular thing prevails in India today. A common citizen will be fearful while approaching the police. What happens? A common citizen is fearful while approaching the police. They cannot report their matter with the confidence. They are hesitant to interact with the police. Often police is seen as a corrupt force. Okay. Now what is needed to be done? Perception towards the policing has to be changed from force to the service. Perception towards the policing has to be changed from the force to the service. And for that particular thing, deep-seated police reforms are needed in India. Deep-seated police reforms are needed in India. Okay. And guys, in this capacity, even there was the very popular Prakash Singh judgment given by Supreme Court. And in the Prakash Singh judgment by Supreme Court, 7 directives were given. 7 directives were given. This is the homework for you. Just please search for the 7 directives of police reforms given by the Prakash Singh case. However, majority of them did not got implemented. Majority of them did not got implemented. Now, the article that we have here, this article, it is talking about what has happened. Recently, a 3-day conference has been held in Jaipur. Just a minute. So recently, a 3-day conference was held in Jaipur. And in this particular conference, Director General of Police across the country, they have met. And it was actually a stock-taking exercise as well as a learning experience, that how the different state polices, what they can learn from each other, how they can emerge as a service. Also in this Jaipur conference that was held for the policing, Prime Minister also participated. Prime Minister also participated, and he provided that it is very much important that police needs to correct their perception. They need to correct their image. Now, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about, okay, now understand this particular thing, that though these initiatives are being taken up, police is becoming more tech savvy. Police is adopting a lot of new initiatives, but at the same time, this is even true for today, that police still have to earn the trust and confidence of the majority of the people. Even after 75 years of independence, police fine citizens do not have a guardian organization that the people can reach. They still see police as a force and not as a guardian organization. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that when we talk about the policing in India, there are many issues with respect to the policing. Number one, the attitude is not correct. Number two issue that comes here is that there is a growing discord between the center and a few opposition-led states. Now understand what is happening. Often these episodes have happened. We have discussed it also, that a police from a particular state entered in the other state, arrested some particular person, brought them without taking the permission for the other state. Also, guys, what is happening? We have the Indian Police Services. Now, when we talk about Indian Police Services, recruitment for Indian Police Service is done by the UPSC. And Indian Police Service, now we see this particular thing, that the authority to appoint the IPS officers is union, but they are deputed in the state. They are deputed in the state. So what happens? This Indian Police Service settlement happens to be a permanent irritant to some of the states. These states see IPS officers as unreliable intruders who are working on the directive of the union government. State, they often see that they have no control on the IPS officers. Also, now what has happened? The role of Enforcement Directorate also has come. Now, Enforcement Directorate happens to be a central organization, and recently Enforcement Directorate has made many raids in the different states and have arrested many people. So even for the Enforcement Directorate, directorate's role, the center and state rivalries are increasing. Now, further guys, okay, further guys, moving in this particular capacity, also it has been provided that though we are saying that police is becoming more tech savvy, this is a very good thing, and now we see that even the lower rung officers today, they are adopting technology. Now why this has been possible? This has been possible because now more young people are opting for more young people are now entering the police service, are entering the police services, and at the lower level we have more educated policemen. Now it is being said that it is not because of the fact that youth, they rate police as a service at very high priority, but they are choosing policing because there are other employment opportunities that are not there. So they say that it is not because Indian youth rate career in police force very high, it is because of the sheer unemployment. But okay, this is good thing that technological adoption in the police has increased and is further improving. Now further, the article says this particular thing, that when we talk about policing in India, there happens to be one more fundamental issue. Fundamental issue is there that IPS as a service is the one which is most celebrated. IPS is the one which is most celebrated, and officers below the rank of IPS, they never get attention, they never get that respect that should be given to them. Now it has been said that the situation in India and the world is different. In the other countries, particularly the UK, every recruit in the police, most of the recruit in the police, they start from the lowest rung, and then they rise up the upper ranks dependent on their caliber, dependent on their potential. Okay, and also they need to have the knowledge of science, technology, etc. But in India, what is happening? We are having a separate examination by UPSC for the IPS, and the IPS is the one which is the most celebrated post. Below that, the officers are not celebrated. Also, it has been provided this particular thing that when we talk about the upper level of police, the upper level of hierarchy, upper part of the hierarchy, that is the officers above the IPS and the officers below the IPS, there is a lot of difference in terms of their knowledge, in terms of their in terms of their knowledge, in terms of their outlook, in terms of their capability. So it has been provided that in this capacity, the IPS officers should have played an important role to educate, to empower the lower level officers. But IPS officers have not done that. Not done that. So right now the hierarchy works against spending quality time with the constabulary. Okay, constabulary. Also, it has been provided that there is also one more issue with respect to the police, and this is the politicization of police. That is the politicization of the police force. Now why the politicization of police force happens? Because now we see that the state police when it is there, it often there when we talk about the policing in the state, local politicians have a lot of control on them, and even now they have control over their transfers, over their postings. And to get a favorable posting, often police officers, they oblige to the politicians. So therefore this nexus of politicization of police has also emerged today. They have to be solved. So these are the major areas that have to be resolved today. This is what this entire article is talking about. Okay, so that is about it. And now let's move to next article. Fine. We have this particular article here, numbers game. Numbers game. Okay. Now this particular article, guys, we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 2, implementation of government schemes. So if you have followed the yesterday's newspaper analysis, we have seen that the Swachh Sarvekshan survey has been released. Now, when we talk about the Swachh Sarvekshan survey, this survey ranks the cities on the basis of cleanliness. This survey is released under the Swachh Bharat Mission Urban, and Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs is the implementing agency for Swachh Sarvekshan survey. Now, as per the 2023 Swachh Sarvekshan survey that has been released, it has released its ranking, and city of Indore in Madhya Pradesh got the first rank. This year first rank has been shared by two cities, that is Indore as well as Surat in Gujarat. Okay, now last year Surat was on second rank, this year Surat is also on the first rank, and actually this is the 7th year in row that Indore is getting the award of the best cleanest city in the city. Also guys, there is beyond rank 10, there is some kind of a volatility also. For example, Ahmedabad, Chandigarh, Gwalior, fine, they are volatile cities. Okay, they come in the top, but they don't maintain the same rank. They are the volatile cities. Now, what has happened, guys? Now, over the years, we have found this particular thing, that within the Swachh Sarvekshan survey, there are so many subcategorizations that have been created. Let's understand this particular thing. Let's understand this particular thing. Basically, this year, Mhow in Madhya Pradesh, it was declared as the cleanest cantonment town. Varanasi and Prayagraj were the winners of the cleanest Ganga town. Chandigarh was the winner of best Safai Mitra Surakshit Shahar, means city's safest for the sanitation worker. Now understand this thing, that within one ranking, so many sub rankings have been created that every city will get some good rank. Every city will get some good rank. You have created so many subcategories that are there. For example, suppose there is a class. We give ranking to the students. Now, first is rank the entire class. There will be one student who will get the one rank. What we can do? We can rank the class, boys separately, girls separately. Further that, then what we can do? We can rank the class on the basis of their height. We can further rank the class on the basis of their weight. Then further, we can rank the class. We can rank the classes on the basis of the top marks that has been scored by boys, top marks scored on by the girls. Then on the basis of height, on the basis of weight, then on the other parameters. Now, point is that suppose there are 30 students, you create 30 parameters, every student will come first. So article is saying this particular thing, that over the years, so many subcategories have been created within the ranking, that every state or every city is getting rank here and there. Now it has been provided that such kind of thing is good to encourage the morale, to motivate in sporting, etc. Consolation prizes, etc. are given, such is good. But it has been provided that when we talk about the sanitation, sanitation is something that a result of a town to choose actively doing something. Okay, if a town is lazy, simply you cannot give them good ranking by creating a special kind of a category. This is something that should not be happening. Now, further article provides this particular thing, that when we talk about the sanitation in any city, any state, it is heavily influenced by their history, by their economic conditions, by proximity to power. For example, historically, some city has been, for example, when we talk about Chandigarh is a planned city. So obviously, being a planned city, it will have better storm water drainages, etc. Often, guys, some cities have been ruled by such rulers in the past that they have invested in the past also in better water management, in better sewage, etc. So such cities will perform always good. Inherently, they had some benefit. Then proximity to power. Now, some of the cities, they have seen chief ministers getting elected from them. Okay, certain constituencies are the chief minister's constituency. There they have worked a lot. Then economic conditions, all these factors play a very important role. Now it has been provided that, see, from the past few years, we see that there are some states which are getting the top rank. For example, Indore is getting the top rank. Surat is getting the rank in the 1, 2, 3 or 1 and 2. Then there are cities within 1 to 10, they are permanently there. Now it says this particular thing, that these particular states have already shown that they have a well-placed oiled system. Now what can be done? These particular cities can be retired and other cities should be given the chance. Now understand, when we talk about this ranking, ranking was created to ensure a competitive spirit. But now what has happened? There are 10 states which are there, and other states, they think that there is no chance for them to beat these 10 states which have so much inherent better structures. So therefore, they are to be retired for a few years, and then the other states are to be allowed to compete in this open category. It will further encourage them. Now guys, always it will also happen with you. Suppose you have a competitor which is exceptionally strong and there is no chance that you can beat that person. So what happens? We make a compromise. So such kind of a thing should not happen here. So this is about it. And now further moving to the next article. Okay, focus on best practice as global meet on pulses return to India. Okay, now basically guys, this article we are going to see with respect to the prelims examination. Now, as of now, this meeting has not held, so we have only the basic information about it. So basically, guys, when we talk about the pulses, pulses happen to be a very important crop with respect to India. Why? Because a large number of people in India being a vegetarian, they derive their protein requirement from pulses. So pulses happen to be an important component in nutritional security of India. Number one. Number two, pulses, they can be grown in semi-arid regions. They can be grown with less water usage. When on other hand we talk about paddy needs a lot of water, but pulses don't need that much water. So therefore they can also emerge as a climate smart crop. So they fulfill our nutritional security. They are the climate smart crops. Also they have been called as the superfoods. They have been called as a superfood. So to enhance the pulses cultivation, what is happening? Global Pulse Convention will be held in the month of February in India. Now, 2023 edition of the Global Pulse Convention, it was held in Sydney, Australia in 2023. This year it will be held in India, and more than 40 countries will participate in this Global Pulse Convention. Now, it will be organized by whom? It will be jointly organized by National Agriculture. It will be joined by National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federation of India Limited, NAFED, and Global Pulse Confederation. Now, a question might be asked that this is the first time that the Global Pulse Convention is being held in India. No, it has been held in India, and now after the gap of 18 years, it is being again held in India. Now, in this particular convention, it will be discussed that how we can encourage the pulses cultivation in India, how we can increase the productivity of the farmers who are growing the pulses in their fields. So all these particular things will be taken up in this particular convention. Okay, now other things will come when it will be held in February. So as of now, it has not been held. In February it will be held. Now, further moving in this particular direction, India's longest sea bridge inaugurated. Okay, so for the prelims examination, you need to know some basic details about this. Now, when we talk about this article will be important for prelims. Also for GS paper number 3, infrastructure and related issues, the article can be important. GS3, infrastructure and prelims current affairs. So basically what has happened? Government has now, Prime Minister has inaugurated 6-line Trans Harbour Bridge, which is in total a 21.8 kilometer long bridge. It is 21.8 kilometer long bridge, and out of 21.8 kilometer, 16.5 kilometer component is a sea link. 16.5 kilometer component is a sea link. So therefore, it becomes the India's longest sea bridge. Now, this particular bridge also will be called as Atal Setu. And this particular bridge will strengthen the transport infrastructure in India and will help in ensuring the ease of mobility. Now, where this particular bridge has been constructed? This particular bridge has been constructed, or this particular flyover has been constructed in Mumbai, and it will connect the Mumbai and Navi Mumbai. Now, right now we talk about the Mumbai and Navi Mumbai. This journey is more than 40 kilometers and it used to take 2 hours of travel time. But now with this, travel time will be reduced to just 20 minutes. And this particular bridge has been built with the assistance of Japan. And by this particular thing, by this Atal Setu flyover, connectivity with international airport, Navi Mumbai, okay, fine connectivity with Pune, Goa, South India will further be improved. Okay, so this is the longest sea flyover that has been constructed. Okay, so I hope guys that you have understood it. Okay, so this is about it. And then finally, Science Ministry visits Hawaii to take stock of telescope project. Now, before going in this article, let me explain you some important basic dimensions. So basically, guys, when we talk about the deep, deep space telescopy, in this capacity, India and the countries such as no, US, Japan, China, Canada, and India, they decided to establish a 30-meter telescope. They decided to establish a 30-meter telescope. Now, this particular telescope will be um, a primary mirror optical and infrared telescope. It will be a mirror and infrared telescope, and this particular telescope will help in the observation in the deep space. Okay, so first thing, 30-meter telescope was to be established for the deep space observation. It will be a mirror as well as infrared telescope. And how many countries are collaborating for this telescope? USA, Japan, China, Canada, and India are inaugurating. And in 2014, India also provided that $200 million of hardware assistance will also be provided by India. Now, a question comes that where this telescope is to be established. Now, this particular telescope was to be established at Mauna Kea. Was to be established at Mauna Kea. It is an inactive volcano on the island of Hawaii, US. So you might be knowing about the Hawaii. So on the Hawaiian island, this Mauna Kea is established. Now, what has happened up till now? This particular project has not been materialized because the local people are protesting against this particular project. What has happened? First of all, a lot of other satellites are already there, but this was to be one of the most high spec telescope that was being constructed there. But people are protesting on the religious and cultural grounds. And for this particular thing, now the team of India is going to visit the Mauna Kea. Fine. Now, if this particular project does not get materializes, what is the next possible location? The next possible location is Observatorio del Roque de los Muchanos. Now this is in Spain, Spain's Canary Island. So simply remember that the Spain Canary Island is the next possible choice. But Mauna Kea is still happens to be the best site for the astronomy. But locals are protesting here for 30-meter telescope. So guys, this kind of a question might come that recently Mauna Kea was in news in respect to the options they might give. 30-meter telescope in option to developing it as a military base, something like this. Okay, so that is all about this particular article. So guys, with this we come to an end to the session, and I hope that you have liked the video, guys. If you have liked the video, please do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also guys, please do answer the questions and please leave it in the comment box. So that is all for today. Now we'll meet on Monday. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.